Good morning, everyone. Good snowy morning if you're in Pennsylvania. And welcome to today's edition of Reading 365. I am Will Amy Scott. I am going to be your Zoom manager for today. And I have the pleasure of introducing our first reader for today, Ms. Beryl Brackett. I'm going to give you a little bit of detail about Cheryl, but before I do that, let me tell you about Reading 365. If you've joined us before, welcome back. If you have not, stay tuned. You're going to be pleasantly surprised every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you join us via the American Literacy Corporation's Facebook page, you will be read to. We have wonderful authors and just volunteers who come and share their love of reading and their books with us, and a little bit about their careers and their lives. And in doing so, during these trying times, we get to share with you the appreciation and the love of reading. We will do this through September 30th of this year. Again, this is part of the ALC's initiative just to share the love of reading with our general public, and using our lovely Facebook platform allows us to reach those all over. We've been doing a pretty good job at that because Ms. Beryl is from Maryland and joins us because she saw the information for our reading event on a Facebook page and decided, you know what, this is for me. And that's what we like to hear. So we appreciate you being here this morning, taking the time to share your passion and your talent with us. She is married. She's the mom of 3 adult sons and a new grandma, which I love to use. She has been a librarian for 7 years. Prior to that was teaching, has always had a passion and love for children, which has led to the book that she's going to read today, which was co-authored with her son. So that is a full circle moment if you are both a parent and an avid reader, to have a book written with yourself and a family member. So I am going to allow you to go ahead and intro your book, and we will jump right in and allow you to read your book. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am Beryl Brackett, and I co-authored this book with my son, Ryan Brackett. The name of the book is Leah Grace Bedtime Adventure, but let me tell you how that got started. Me and my husband and I learned that we were going to be first-time grandparents, and I was excited. And we thought back on the times when the boys had to go to bed and how interesting it was. So we decided to write about it from the viewpoint of this little girl, Leah Grace. Let's go in and see what happens on Leah Grace's bedtime adventure. When bedtime's near and the day is done, don't be sad, the journey's just begun. Collect your moon rocks, rover and cargo. Prepare for takeoff. To Earth we go. You made it. Now it's time to eject. So long, spacesuit. Ready? Okay. Deploy your parachute. High above the sudsy sea, bubbles shimmer and float. Don't forget to put on your snorkel. Look out below. Swim around, and what do you see? Dolphins and a mermaid singing, play with me. They giggle and splash, then laugh some more. Wave goodbye and say thanks. They brought you to shore. Change into your explorer gear. A jungle lies ahead. There's quicksand and snakes. But there's no time to be filled with dread. Take your trusty rope and swing from branch to branch. Skip across the rocks. The jungle never stood a chance. Up above looms a mountain covered in snow. The last thing in your way before to bed you go, the ice is slippery, the wind starts to howl. Bundle up tight, there's no stopping now. You begin to climb through sleet and snowy powder. But from the top, you hear a crash growing louder and louder. The snow starts rushing and moving fast. Holy cow, it's an avalanche. Dig in tight and brace yourself. Grab my hand, I'm here to help. Up you're pulled into the clouds and see mommy and daddy looking down. They tuck you in, and with a goodnight kiss, you close your eyes and rest. Mission accomplished. Good night, Leah Grace. The end.
Lovely, Leah Grace. I love the book and the illustrations. I know you said this is your first grandchild, and
Yes.
girl, which motivated the book. So very lovely. And I think I like the photos even more sometimes because kids kind of draw into the illustrations. So that's awesome. So now we're gonna go to our next reader, which has joined us yesterday for our Reading 365 Black History Month celebration. Hello there, Stacey. Thank you. You're still on mute, just in case you didn't see that. But thank you so much for joining us again. I'm so glad that you were able to take a back-to-back approach to this reading thing. It's awesome to see if some folks double up and join us again. I know that yesterday was very much a successful event, and in part because of folks like yourself. So we're going to just jump right in. I'm going to let you introduce the book that you're going to read, and then we'll talk a little bit after. How's that sound?
Perfect.
All right.
So I am going to introduce my girl version of the book. So I read the boy version yesterday. So this is The Princess of Picky Eating Tries New Foods. So here is the illustration. This is Sloane. She is sweet, sophisticated, and super smart. However, she has a simply silly story. Sloane is particular and picky, especially when it comes to food. She only eats foods that begin with the letter B. Some of these foods are nutritious, but it has become a problem because there are so many foods she will not eat. Although Sloane is sophisticated and super smart, she's also seriously stubborn. Each day, Sloane's mother explains how important it is to eat foods from all the different food groups: fruits, vegetables or veggies, grains, protein, dairy, and fat. Each of these food groups offers different vitamins and minerals which are necessary to help you stay healthy and grow strong. The next page. Sloane's family became vegetarian, which means they do not eat meat, a few years ago. This was after Sloane refused to eat anything except for beans, butter, and blue corn chips. Now she also eats bananas, bread, and broccoli, only if it's blanched, but that's it. Sloane's mom has had it. She is frazzled, frustrated, and furious by Sloane's finicky eating habits. Sloane's mother says there are lots of foods that are delicious and nutritious. Sloane is uninterested. During snack time, Sloane's mom explains that protein helps your muscles grow big and strong. This is hummus. It's made with chickpeas. It's a very popular food in many Middle Eastern countries. I chose hummus as a snack because it contains protein and fiber, which help you feel full longer. I think you'll like it. It's delicious and nutritious, explains Sloane's mother. Sloan stared at the plate and stated, "No, thank you, not today, no way." Tonight is Try Something New Tuesday, explained Sloan's dad. "We're having quinoa and kale. People in South America commonly eat quinoa. In the United States, we consider it part of the grain food group, as many people eat quinoa instead of rice. However, it's really an edible seed. It's a good source of protein and rich in minerals such as manganese, which have several necessary functions in the body." Sloan was annoyed, aggravated, and appalled. Her parents actually thought she would eat quinoa. However, she smiled and softly stated, "No, thank you, not today, no way." Sloan loves playing at her friend Kaman's house. She has all the best toys. Unfortunately, Kaman's mom always tries to offer Sloan something to eat during their playdates. And today was no different. Sloan desperately tried to dash out of the door before snack time. That definitely didn't happen. Kaman's mom exclaimed, "This is dragon fruit. It may look odd, but it's sweet and really good for you. It's rich in antioxidants, substances that protect your cells and keep them healthy. I used to eat it all the time growing up in Thailand. I think you will like it." Sloan says, "Let me guess. It's delicious and nutritious?" "Yes, how did you know?" Kaman's mom asked. Sloan chuckled. "It's just a guess." She didn't want to be rude, and so in her most polite voice, she said, "No, thank you, not today, no way." "Look at this callaloo growing in the garden. It's so green and gorgeous," Sloan's mom announced. "People in several Caribbean countries grow and eat callaloo. In Jamaica, it's prepared like greens and cooked with tomatoes and peppers and spices. It's a great source of many vitamins such as vitamin A, which is important for healthy vision. I think you will like it. It's delicious and nutritious." Sloan shook her head and said, "No, thank you, not today, no way." Okay. "What kind of snacks would you like to eat this week?" asked Sloan's mom. Paige, Sloan's sister, passionately pleaded for peach yogurt. "Great idea. Yogurt is a great source of calcium and probiotics. Calcium is important for strong bones and teeth. Probiotics are important for healthy digestion. Let's try something new. Pick out some non-dairy yogurts." "This yogurt made with coconut milk looks yummy," says Sloan's mom. Paige looks at Sloan and mimics their mother. "I think you will like it. It's delicious and nutritious." Sloan was still skeptical. She said, "No, thank you, not today, no way." Later that night, as the girls were putting away the groceries, they acted goofy while they gabbed and giggled about Sloan's recent birthday celebration. Sloan's received some really cool gifts. However, she would not let Paige look at them, let alone play with her new toys. Paige suddenly came up with a sneaky scenario to play with the new toys. She decided to challenge Sloan to a dare. Paige absolutely adored avocados, and she knew Sloan didn't like to try new things. Paige decided to dare Sloan to try avocados. If Sloan refused the dare, Paige would get to play with Sloan's new toys. Now remember, Sloan is sweet yet sophisticated and super smart, so she was clear this was not a good deal. Sloan said, "If I try avocados and I do like them, you can play with my toys. If I try avocados and I don't like them, you can play with my toys. If I try avocados and I do like them, you have to do my chores for 1 week. Deal? Paige agreed. After all, Sloan doesn't eat anything except for foods that begin with the letter B. Sloan snickered as she had a surprise for Paige. Once, a few years ago, while Sloan was distracted, their mother had secretly served her a spoonful of guacamole, a dip made with avocados. She remembered her mother explaining how avocados are often grown in Mexico. They are really nutritious because they contain healthy fats called monounsaturated fatty acids that are good for your heart. Sloan was pretty sure she could pretend to enjoy avocados in the form of guacamole to win the dare. As her family watched, Sloan brilliantly and boldly grabbed some guacamole and took a bite. Time stood still as she tasted the tortilla topped with guacamole. Paige eagerly, earnestly, and emotionally awaited her response. Sloan slowly states, I think I like it. Actually, it's amazing. I would eat it any day. I would eat avocados anyway. It is delicious and nutritious. Sloane's family was staring, silently and stunned. She had single-handedly won the dare. She was so surprised by her new discovery, she decided to try other new foods. Over the course of the next few days, she happily tried hummus and thought it was heavenly. Next, she quietly sampled quinoa and quickly admitted it was quite enjoyable. Afterwards, Sloane daringly dined on dragon fruit, dazzled and delighted by the sweet, delectable flavor. Next, she curiously chewed the callaloo and was captivated by the flavorful food. Last, she yelled yummy after tasting the smooth and creamy texture of yogurt. Sloane was finally fully aware that trying new foods could be fun. It was also delicious and nutritious. She was so proud of herself. She was also happy that Paige dared her to try something new. She was so happy that she even let Paige play with her new toys. The end.
Fantastic. I feel like both of you ladies have solved two of my major issues with today's reads, the eating and the going to bed. I'm sure parents can definitely relate. Those books are beautifully written, and I love the illustration as well. So, Stacey, tell me the catalyst behind the series which you've created in terms of this particular book and this particular subject matter.
So sure. There's four main reasons why I created this series of books. So first, the Delicious and Nutritious is the series, and there's definitely more coming. So this is the first. And once again, there's The Prince of Picky Eating as well. Same book, just a girl lead and a boy lead. And The Princess of Picky Eating was my original idea based off of my Princess of Picky Eating. So I have this story is loosely based off of my family. So I have 3 children, which are featured in the book. Mm-hmm. And the picky eater is Sloane. And we became vegetarians a few years ago because Sloane would only eat beans. Mm. And so we just were eating all these foods with beans, and we're just like, you know what, let's just go ahead and become vegetarian. So she does eat more things than foods that begin with the letter B. So I thought this would just be a silly way to share our story with other families. But additionally, I am a dietitian and nutritionist, so nutrition is important to me. So I wanted to use this as a teaching tool. So as I wrote the book, I made sure to hit each of the different food groups and try to introduce a new food that children might not be aware of, but it's still readily available in most major grocery stores. So if they wanted to try it, they'd be able to find it, but broadening their horizons. And another thing that I really wanted to do is I wanted to feature a family of color in their full glory, and a book about nutrition, because those are not easily to come by.
Yeah, definitely a space that has not been fully explored, I'm sure, on the literary side. So, Beryl, that brings me to you because same thing. You saw an issue or what you perceive would become an issue with your granddaughter, and thought to jump in and help with your book, which bedtime is always this tough point of the day because no one wants to go to bed, right? No one even wants to take a nap. So with your experience, and I find the trend with both you ladies that you wanted to teach and fill this gap that was there. Your son helped you write this book, right? And as a librarian, the shelves that you're now going to fill are also going to include a book that you yourself have written. How is that experience for you? How was getting to the point of writing that book, knowing that it would be shared with everyone?
Actually, writing the book was really liberating, especially when I brought my son into the mix of helping to lay out the storyline and how Leah Grace goes from actually being in this astronaut costume until she actually goes to bed. I brought Ryan in because he is a screenwriter. And I knew that as a librarian, I knew what I wanted to say, but he can help me put it all together and bring everything together. He laughed about the story and about the stories that I told about when they were going to bed and how they didn't want to go to bed. You know, you have to go pick up the Power Ranger toy and all that and take it to bed or get some milk, some cookies or something. And I said, well, let's explore that for Leah Grace. This is our oldest son and his wife's daughter, but Ryan is our middle son. And so we came together and we collaborated on this. And I thought it was just amazing just to leave a legacy for her, to let her know that even before she was born, we thought about her and her life and how it would be. And to be interesting enough, it takes a while for Leah Grace to go to bed now.
That works out. So the book is actually timely, in addition to being necessary and filling a space that was there. That's amazing. That's how God works, right? He shows you your talent and then puts it to use. That's
Exactly.
So with both of you ladies, something else that you both have in common, both the mom of three, right? Yours older, I'm sure yours younger, and being in this education space, the space where you are able to impact what others are doing. Yourself, Stacey, with nutrition, Beryl, yourself with the library and all the teaching that you've done. How much do you think that in this new norm that reading has been impacted? I know libraries are obviously operating differently. Stacey, as you said, you're educating folks on nutrition. How much in this new norm do you find that books like these are just influential in changing what people do on their day-to-day?
Well, I think as far as the library, it is different because we have to do everything virtual and you have to get an ebook. It's a little different from grabbing the book and turning the pages. But I think it really has influenced my students to know that they can still read. You don't necessarily have to have a book in your hand. We even went as far as to, we do this program every year, the Write a Book program, and they saw their book come to life with the program that we use, Book Creator. So they understand words and that words are powerful, that they can write anything and get it off their chest, which they should because they're dealing with a lot and they can feel better. So it's been very beneficial.
That's awesome. Stacey, what about you? I know that this is a process, right?
Yes, it's a process, but as a new author, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. It's definitely like a lot of work, a labor of love. But so I feel like writing this specifically for my children and children that know me specifically, like they see that this is possible. This was just, Paige and Sloan and Grant's mom, and now she has a book. So that's one thing. I also think that it's a great escape, especially away from screens, if you do have a physical book. So even my son today, we were watching a video and he mentioned an orca. I was like, how do you know about an orca? And he was like, I read it in a book. So there's so many things that kids can gain from the book. And then the last thing that I think is specifically really timely and really impactful is books like these that are featuring characters of color as protagonists within this, our society right now. There's a lot of families that aren't of color that are looking for these stories that might not be about, like my melanin and like hair love and things like this. So this is a great way to showcase like, Black characters in books that can relate to children of all walks of life.
Yeah, and I completely agree with everything that you put out there. As a parent myself, when you're looking for books, if you're intentional in what it is you want them to see in the broad spectrum, it's tough to find great books. That brings me to the illustration. Stacey, in your book, these pictures are great. The colors are fantastic. How much say and impact do you as a writer and as an author do you have in the illustrations that you select and choose for your books?
Well, as a self-published author, it was just, yes, I had, the sky was the limit. So, I was very specific when I was looking for an illustrator. I put out a call for what exactly I was looking for. I want somebody that can capture a woman of color, a child of color, hair textures. I gave them pictures of what I wanted to look like down to the earrings, very, very specific. In the boy book, I wanted to make sure that there was some use of, red and green and black, like, that's the color room theme of the theme of his room I want to be. So I had 100% creative license there.
That's amazing. And I know visuals are just as important, especially for children, some who can't read yet, who are listening to the story, but seeing the pages. So Beryl, same thing. You have fantastic illustrations in your book as well. Were you as involved, and how are you in structuring what it is your characters look like?
We were very involved from the beginning to the end. Like Stacey said, you knew what you wanted your characters to look like. So you kind of gave the illustrator a painted view of what you expected or what you wanted them to convey on your paper, making sure that it goes along with your storyline. Yeah. So we had free range. Our illustrator was awesome. We told them exactly how we wanted Leah Grace to be lively, the pictures to be vibrant and bright, because it's for pre-K through first grade students, because they gravitate towards the illustration. So we had free range to tell them, okay, this is what we want. Make sure she looks bright, happy. So yeah, it was free range, 100% creative.
Mm-hmm. That's lovely to see that it can, your vision can actually come to life once you put that thought into it. We're obviously going to share information about both of you ladies' books, so it'll be out there for others to get to. But it's Black History Month, and you ladies are already making history yourself. It's happening every day. I know we commemorate it all in a month, but it's Black History 365 is what I like to say. So it's amazing that Stacey, as a first-time author, this is your contribution, putting it out there. So welcome to history, madam. And same.
Yeah, I don't know if you see, but
oh, nice. Yes. I also wanted to talk a little bit about some of the other things that you both do that still tie into this love of reading and this passion in your families. I know that Stacey, you have a t-shirt line, as you mentioned, yes. Right?
Yes, and this is one of mine.
Nice. And same thing. What inspired you to kind of put that idea out there for everyone else to kind of enjoy and share?
I have to say, all of my creative visions, like if you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I would not have considered myself a creative at all. All of my inspiration really has come from my children. So it's been a place of, wait, I want this for my kids and it doesn't exist. So Melanated Magic Tees first started off as a children's line with, these vibrant pictures of a little girl with the afro puffs and, a boy with this dark skin and saying phrases like smart boys rock or smart girls rock, like those affirmations and things that you really wanted them to see. And then I just kind of moved on from there, other areas, adult things. And so they were the inspiration.
That's fantastic. Beryl, I mentioned that you did teach before becoming a librarian. So one thing kind of led you to the other. Talk about that transition, how you go from the library space, which is huge. You librarians, I don't know if anyone else has a great librarian that impacted them, but I did. Librarians have the way of kind of knowing who you are, knowing what you're interested in. They get familiar with you. They see you often enough. And so you kind of build that bridge and that bond. You were teaching first and then transitioned to being a librarian. And what was the reason that you chose that space to continue operating with education?
Well, it's actually interesting because when I started teaching, I was teaching science. Well, I've taught a couple of areas, but I would always be in the library. My students, we will always hold class in the library. So I had a friend of mine who said, well, why don't you go back and get another master's degree and become a librarian? I said, I'm not trying to do all that. I just want to get the library, have the kids research things. But she kept pushing and pushing. And God, He has a way to put people in your place, to put you on the path that you're supposed to be on. And so from that, I decided, okay, let me try it.
Yeah.
So from there, I loved it. I absolutely loved the idea of seeing light bulbs go off when kids read, or understanding a concept, or inferencing about a book or something they've read. So I taught elementary school for the first 6 years as a librarian. I loved it. So this year I transitioned to middle school, where I get to teach research, computer science, and library media. So I'm totally excited about it. And I'm grateful that I was nudged, because I do believe that this is my path.
Wonderful. I'm sure they're reaping the benefits of you taking that step and following that push. Both of you ladies, like I said, influential in what you're doing. Nutrition and eating well and eating right is so huge right now. Everyone's home, everyone's kind of, doing their own thing a little bit. We have a lot more control about what it is we put into our bodies, both mentally as well as what we're feeding our souls. So I appreciate you both. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this. Our volunteers are amazing. I always say this. You ladies did not disappoint. There will be more information on both books that we'll include so that others can share in order. We thank you again. I don't want to tie up your whole Sunday. I just want to wrap with this, because I know that as influential as others were to you, you are now going to be to someone else. How does that, not that everyone thinks about it, but is that something that you hold on to and say, I want to make sure that I am the best version of me that others can see, and through this contribution? How does that play in? I'll let you both wrap with just your final thoughts on that. I'll go ahead, Stacey.
So I have to say, when I think of this is like a living legacy, essentially. So it'll live long after I'm gone. And thinking of it like actually leaving an impact, it makes my heart happy. Even when people will be like, oh, my son or daughter, they're saying, no, thank you, not today, no way. Or they tried something because silly Sloan was able to try something. It really just warms my heart. It makes my day whenever I get like a message or a photo, and it just makes me so happy.
Yeah, wonderful.
So I like the fact that for Leah Grace, we've received a lot of pictures about the little girls reading it and holding up and saying, she looks like me. Oh. So I like that. I really like that idea of leaving a legacy behind, especially for my granddaughter, knowing that she is special, she is loved, and it doesn't matter about the color of your skin. And what I've been told, my oldest son told me, said, Mom, even if you're afraid, do it.
Wonderful. Great advice. It's funny how the younger ones can actually teach us something no matter where we are in life, right? So thank you again, ladies. As I said, information about both of your books are going to be readily available to those who are watching. We appreciate everyone taking their time to join us today. Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Beryl. As I said, Reading 365, join us every day, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. If you come to the American Literacy Corps page, you will be wowed. We won't disappoint. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays, lady. I know in Philly, it's probably snowing. In Maryland, you got a little something going on there too. It's definitely snowing here. Thank you again for joining us. Have a blessed Sunday. Thanks, everybody.